Hi guys, welcome to another episode of In a Week. I'm your host Suhaim. I hope you guys are enjoying your holidays. It is almost now New Year, and I wasn't able to make one more video before the end of the year because I was myself busy. Friends were over, and because of that couldn't make a video, so I apologize for that. But I am making this video, and this video is actually after a very long time because I haven't created a video telling the viewers about my progress on learning Japanese, which I did actually a long time ago. It was one of the first videos that I created for my channel, and now it's going to be a regular one of the regular themes in the channel itself. So in this episode I'm going to discuss about the progress that I have made so far since the start of my journey on learning Japanese, which itself began when the pandemic hit the world, and I had plenty time because people were working remotely, so was I, and because there was no commute, I was able to have a lot of time, and I decided that I'm going to learn Japanese, which is one of the toughest languages because in terms of learning a language, I needed some kind of a similarity. That's like when I was learning Spanish, when I was learning French, I had a lot of help from English because the text is the same, you can relate to many things. But in Japanese, that's not the case because I don't know any East Asian language which could help me possibly. If I would have known Mandarin, maybe I would have known kanji and so many other things that I could have easily adopted, but that wasn't the case. So it's a very hard journey, it's a slow journey. So one of the things that I would like to do is to tell you guys exactly what are the recurring kind of strategies for me to tackle issues that I am coming across when I'm learning Japanese. And to be honest, it's not very easy, but at the same time I'm not impatient. So one of the things that I would really tell the people who are trying to learn Japanese or thinking about starting to learn Japanese is that you have to be really patient with the language because it's not going to be easy, but at the same time it's not impossible. Patience is the key, which means take it slow. Do not try to fall into the trap that you can learn anything very fast and it's just a matter of a few months. I guarantee you that it's not going to be the case, so please don't fall into those traps. The key word is to be patient, and that's one of the first things that I have learned while learning Japanese is my passion. So I devote a part of the day to learning Japanese, and basically it's a bunch of things that I do during my day to study Japanese that I will discuss with you guys exactly how I'm doing that and what has happened as a result, like how it has helped me in learning the language. So let's go over this. So I'm not gonna do a cut. This is going to be, I'm trying to try my best to make it as clean of a video as possible. The first thing that I have discussed before is learning the script, because I had no idea, so I had to learn the script. And what I did is that I took one letter at a time and I repeated it over and over. So I did this. I'm going to show it to you. Like, this is one of the things that I purchased, the clipboard, right? And what I did is I basically bought a lot of loose paper, which is for basically practicing every single day. Like this, 400 sheets, 500 sheets, 600 sheets, you name it. You can get it from Amazon, and a clipboard and a pen, and that's all you need basically to start working and practicing on your letters. Now for me, because I know multiple languages, I at least know 6 languages, so I knew that from the very beginning when I was in Pakistan, one of the things that was taught in the school were letters. And I'm not sure how the apps are tackling that aspect of learning a language today, but I am very used to the conventional old school method of learning the letters first and then basically going and learning the rest of the language, because I want to be able to read what I am learning, you know, grammar wise or in terms of sentence structure or anything. So before any of that could happen, I wanted to make sure that I can at least read the text of the language. Now, to my I won't say surprise, but to added to my difficulty was that there are 3 texts in Japanese, and you know, hiragana, katakana, and kanji. Now I tackled hiragana and katakana, and I'll tell you how I tackled it. So basically, I'm gonna show you a sheet of paper, as I have done before. I daily practice this. Basically, repeat all the letters on a loose page like this, and that's daily. So that's revision over and over and over, and I started doing that since the pandemic. So I would say it's now almost like 2 years that when I see these letters in a, you know, let's say a TV program, or even walking and going to a restaurant, I can read it. And if I know the word, I know exactly what the word is. So that's incredible, because 2 years ago, none of this was possible. Like, I couldn't read a thing. And now I just surprise myself, you know, how I'm able to read the Japanese script, at least if it is in hiragana and katakana. So, and the strategy that I would like to emphasize to you guys is to please make sure repeat. The more you repeat, the more it is in use, the more you'll be able to learn it faster, and most importantly, keep it in your head. You don't want to learn and forget. You know, one of the things that I would like to tell you is that when you learn things fast and then move on and don't repeat what you have learned, you can easily forget whatever you have learned. So it's a waste for you, because you invested so much time in learning something, and you learned it, and you know, since you didn't put it into practice, and practice is basically repetition. So because I am not living in Japan, I have no access to a native Japanese speaker. I cannot or you know, I'm not going to a Japanese school where I'm putting my writing skills or reading skills to put, you know, daily in use. Because of that, it's quite difficult, because you know, you have fewer opportunities. One of the ways that I try to tackle the problem is basically repeating it every day. So I would say that during the day, I would at least spend an hour on this activity. One of the activities in this time would be to repeat all the letters, which is basically the reason why I know what they are, and I can read them. The other part is basically to enhance your vocabulary, and I am emphasizing not only reading but writing and speaking, all of them together. So what I would say to you is this: when you are learning new words, just like when I was learning English when I was young, I was taught how to write multiple different words and what they mean. And I'm doing the same thing in Japanese. I write the words in Japanese in hiragana or katakana, quite often I also try my best to find out the kanji equivalent of that word, so that I know exactly how to recognize it. I would like to be able to write kanji. I don't know how successful I will be in that task, but so far I have only learned 40 kanji out of like thousands of kanjis that are out there. But it's not a bad progress. You have to understand, as I mentioned it before, you have to be really patient. You cannot really expect yourself to be fluent, but there are patterns, you know, that you start to see once you learn the language that come to form as the basis of your learning, and you can progress on those one after the other. So just be patient, as I said. So what I do is that, I take words and I repeat them. Some of these are actually from Genki, and I told you before that I'm using Genki book right here. If you want, you can purchase this book. It's very helpful. It's helping me out, and practice it for myself. So there's a lot of like greetings, simple sentences, simple words that they have in the first few chapters that I have not only memorized, but I also know how to write them. And they kind of complement each other, reading and writing and understanding. So please try to understand, do not disconnect the two. You have to understand one thing. I'm very surprised because, when people are in a young age, they learn things very organized. They are in a school setting, and once they grow up, they tend to forget that how they learned their primary language, even though the speaking was going on probably most likely in the house, but nobody was forcing the children to write the language, to use it, to speak it in a way that's what you call building up the vocabulary, as to say. That happens in the school. So make sure that you take yourself back to that time, and when you're learning a new language, you apply the same principles to the new language. For kanji, I mentioned the book before. The kanji book is here, right here, and I only have 40 of them. So even those 40 are actually really tough. It took me some time to master them, and because of my writing them constantly and repeating them constantly, I'm not very good. If you want to take a demonstration, there they are in between all of these, and you can see some cross outs. Like, I do make mistakes. I sometimes forget what they look like, and where how I need to twist and turn, whatever it is. So I do make mistakes even now after repeating them for such a long time. But as I said, it's a process and you need to be patient. Other than that, I'm going to talk about this book. Now, I'm planning to use this book. When I went to Japan Society, I was discouraged not to use travel books to learn Japanese, and I'm gonna give you an idea exactly why I actually do want to use that. Now, I understand many travel books are not really designed to help you learn, but because I have already started learning Japanese, and this book I purchased from Kinokuniya about I think a few months ago, I really loved it. And the reason I love it is because it's not only, so I'm going to give you an example. Here we go. You see, to demonstrate to you, in this book, you don't only have like the English writing that can tell you how to pronounce it, but also the Japanese writing, so you can see that as well, and the meaning of the word. So for me, this is extraordinary, and they have what they have done. I'll tell you, they have categorized in this book, like for example here, basic phrases, situation, and they have done this the same way. They have, for example, how to use it in transportation, hotels, restaurants, shopping, sightseeing, health and safety, all those different topics. Now, I intend to go to Japan, and I consider myself a Japanophile. And for me, this is a very good book. So for me, if I can put up a conversation as a tourist in these situations, and I would really like to use Japanese when I am visiting Japan, because it's one of the dreams that I have, that if I go to Japan, that I'm at least able to put some conversation in Japanese. To feel good about it, to be able to practice what I have learned, if not to put a major conversation, which is basically my dream. The other thing I want to tell you about is also very important, because I recently started to do this, And there's a show on Netflix called Samurai Gourmet. I came across it accidentally. I was just browsing through the whole Netflix different series, and I came across it. I was like, let me take a look at this. Luckily, it's in Japanese, so and it has subtitles, so I actually watched the show. Why I'm recommending this show is not because, you know, the show is like super great, you're gonna have a, you know, such a deep storyline, this and that. No, none of that thing. But if you are a beginner of a Japanese language, you're gonna find a treasure trove in this show, because it's only 30 minutes. The episodes are 30 minutes long. They're very basic. And if you want to learn how to pronounce things, how to catch on because it's also very clear and the storyline is very basic, you'll be able to understand a lot if you're already learning the language. And you can go back and repeat the episode over and over to kind of familiarize yourself with the vocabulary and kind of also polish your speech. This is one of the things that I used to do. I used to do is to read a lot of comics. You know, when I was learning English in Pakistan, I had Archie comics and Archie Digest that were really helping me learning English. And there were situations that I would read about and I would think about them. Oh, so this is what the person is saying, or this is how they're reacting, and this is the language, you know, the different vocabulary that people use as a slang to communicate with each other. The beauty of it is that it really trained me understanding the psyche, understanding the actual language, not a book language, not like the, you know, the formal way of learning things, but basically the language that is a natural way of talking, you know. So it's important that from comics, if you can't read Japanese, I would recommend you to go and buy some manga and read manga. I actually read yaoi. I'm not very good at reading at this moment. I'm kind of forcing myself to learn at least as much as I can and pay attention to different dialogue boxes to see what's been said, so I can also pay it. But I do try, I do attempt. It's not like it's a very big success that I have a breakthrough, but I do try. Other than that, I think it's just a TV show, as I've recommended that watch TV shows. One of them that I just mentioned right now is very basic TV show. It's not too complicated and they will definitely help you. When I was learning Spanish, there was a TV channel called Película Clásico, which I actually watched a lot because I can very much relate with Mexican Spanish pronunciation, because to my ears it's pretty clear. And I used to watch a lot of Película Clásico. You know, all the old Mexican movies, classic movies, were shown on that TV channel, and they were basically a lot of help, not only just to clear up my Spanish, understanding of, you know, the different enhancing my vocabulary, let's say, and also polishing my pronunciation. So it's the same principle that I'm now applying on Japanese, but I have recently started to do this. I am taking it slowly. The last thing that I want to talk to you guys about, because it's already going to be a really long video, but the last thing I want to talk to you about is try to familiarize yourself with the culture, with the history, with the you know, read like biographies, memoirs or something related to Japan, because those books that you will read will give you a context, a cultural context. And learning a language, I mean, you'll be shocked at how much of your own knowledge of Japan, Japanese people, will help you also learn Japanese language. They're not disconnected. Language, culture, you know, history, politics, and all of that. Once you familiarize yourself with all of those things, they will help you understand not only the culture, the language, but the people themselves. So try, and you can read these books in English. I mean, you don't have to read a Japanese book. I mean, it was really interesting because I have purchased a lot of children's manga history books on Japan, and as I said, I'm not able to read them right now, but I'm planning. I bought a lot of stuff, which I will also show in the future, not for the purpose of this video, but definitely I will show you in the future. So but if you can find books in English on Japan and Japanese history, culture, and all those things, I think you will be able to familiarize yourself also in the language. Like, oh, I remember something reading about this, and oh, I now understand the context of this word. It happens quite often. I don't have a particular example right now. If I do, I come across, I will definitely give it to you, but I know what I'm talking about. There's a lot of times that I've read people who are experts and Japanophiles from the West and who have written books on Japan, giving examples. For example, as simple as I would say, like visiting an izakaya, their experience over there, how to ask for a beer in izakaya, and then when I come across that vocabulary, like, oh, so this is how they actually say this, and what is the significance behind asking something in a certain way. Anyways, this is a lot to unpack in one video. I'm hopeful that I'm gonna continue to make this video, basically discussing my progress in learning Japanese with you guys, and also if I have changed my strategies and what different I'm doing in the future, I also would like to discuss it with you guys. However, on that note, I would also like to raise a point. I am unlucky, actually, being in New York City, that I haven't been able to find a single Japanese person who I can communicate with in Japanese. So if you happen to be one of the people who may be interested, please leave me a comment in the comment section, and I would like to follow up. On that note, I am thinking about making one more video in this week, and hopefully I'm able to do that before the end of the year. And I hope you guys have very good holidays and you're enjoying your time with your family and your friends. You guys take care. I'll see you in the next episode of In a Week. Thank you. If you like the content, please subscribe, like the video, and comment below. Help the channel grow. Thank you for watching In a Week.